Have you ever trusted someone with your whole heart, only to discover they were the very reason behind your deepest pain? Some people enter our lives with charm, intelligence, and kindness, only to later reveal a darker side we never expected. Today, we'll uncover 5 undeniable signs you're dealing with a toxic individual and how to protect your peace through the wisdom of Stoicism. It's hard to accept, but here's the brutal truth. Some people genuinely find satisfaction in causing harm and chaos. You could be sharing joyful moments, deep conversations, even vulnerability, only to learn that they've been the source of your emotional turmoil all along. In this video, we're diving into a topic that's both fascinating and disturbing. How to recognize the subtle yet telling signs of an evil person. Whether it's a coworker, friend, or even a family member, these individuals often hide behind layers of charm and charisma, masters of disguise, if you will. But we're not here out of mere curiosity. Understanding these signs can be life-changing. The ancient Stoics believed in the power of perception and the importance of living a life guided by reason and virtue. By identifying and understanding these toxic traits, you empower yourself to safeguard your peace of mind and foster healthier, more meaningful connections, aligning with Stoic values like wisdom, emotional discipline, and self-awareness. In this episode, I'll break down the 5 most revealing signs that you may be dealing with a harmful person. By the end, you'll not only be able to spot the warning signs, but also learn how to respond with strength, clarity, and self-respect. And if you find value in what we're sharing here, do me a simple favor. Hit that subscribe button. And please, don't skip any part. You won't want to miss the special bonus at the end, where I'll share a powerful technique for setting firm boundaries with these individuals. Now let's begin. Picture this. You meet someone who seems captivating. They make you laugh. They make you feel seen. But then things begin to shift. In the previous section, we emphasized the importance of seeing beyond someone's charm. Now let's explore one of the clearest warning signs of a toxic person, a complete lack of empathy and compassion. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the deep interconnectedness of all human beings. He reminded us that the well-being of others is intrinsically linked to our own. So when we encounter someone who shows no regard for others' emotions, it's a serious red flag. Imagine confiding in a friend, sharing something deeply vulnerable, hoping for comfort. Instead, they dismiss your feelings or, worse, mock your sensitivity. That lack of empathy leaves you not only feeling hurt, but also isolated and invalidated. These individuals don't just disappear when you're in pain, they're absent in your joy too. They won't celebrate your victories. They may minimize them, ignore them, or even try to take credit for your achievements. And this behavior isn't limited to personal relationships. Consider a boss who overworks employees, denies reasonable time off, or publicly humiliates staff instead of guiding them. This creates a toxic work culture where people feel undervalued and demoralized. The Stoics would advise us to protect our integrity and inner peace, reminding us that another's lack of empathy reflects their character, not ours. But there's more. A lack of empathy can evolve into truly damaging behavior. Those who can't feel for others are more likely to lie, cheat, and harm without remorse. They operate without conscience, focused only on their own gain. Seneca emphasized that kindness and justice must always guide our actions. When empathy is absent, these virtues vanish, and what's left is dangerous. Lack of empathy also shows up in subtle ways, constantly interrupting, dominating conversations, ignoring cries for help. These behaviors might seem small, but over time they reveal a disturbing pattern, an inability to genuinely connect with others. The Stoics remind us to stay observant. These tiny signs are clues to a person's true character. And if you find yourself in the orbit of someone who consistently lacks empathy, it's time to draw a clear boundary. Your emotional and mental well-being is worth protecting. You are not obligated to carry someone else's coldness on your shoulders. As the Stoics taught, your peace matters. You deserve to surround yourself with those who feel, who care, and who respect your emotions. And now we move into a deeper layer of toxic behavior, manipulation. Subtle, calculated, and incredibly harmful. Let's break it down together in the next section. Following the warning sign of lacking empathy, we now move into a more subtle yet highly destructive behavior, manipulation. It's not just about intentional harm, it's about control, disguised as care, hidden beneath flattery, and wrapped in guilt. One common manipulation tactic is conditional praise. A manipulator will compliment you, but only when they need something. Their kind words aren't genuine encouragement. They're a tool to create obligation. You start to feel like you owe them, or that you need to keep impressing them to stay in their favor. The Stoics would remind us, true virtue and self-worth come from within, not from fleeting approval or manipulation. Another form of manipulation is social isolation. A manipulator might try to cut you off from your friends and family, the very people who could help you see clearly. They'll say things like, your friends don't really care about you, or your family doesn't understand you like I do. The goal is to make you emotionally dependent so they can tighten their grip on your reality. This, of course, goes against Stoic values, which emphasize community, mutual support, and interdependence as essential to a healthy life. Manipulation can also show up in financial control. Maybe they borrow money and never repay it. Or worse, they take over all financial decisions in the relationship. A partner might say, let me handle the money, it's easier, or you're just not good with finances. But behind these words is a strategy to limit your independence and trap you. The Stoics would urge us to seek self-sufficiency and freedom, especially when it comes to our personal resources. Being financially dependent can leave you vulnerable and unable to walk away from a toxic situation. But perhaps what makes manipulation so dangerous is how difficult it is to recognize, especially when you care deeply about the person involved. That's why the Stoics teach us to be vigilant. Ask yourself, do they always put their needs above yours? Do they make you question your reality or feel guilty for standing your ground? Do they try to isolate or control you? If so, it's time to draw clear, firm boundaries. Stand your ground, speak clearly and assertively. You have every right to your own thoughts, feelings, and decisions. As Epictetus taught, you cannot control the actions of others, but you can control how you respond. And that response, when rooted in clarity and strength, can protect your peace and preserve your dignity. Next, we'll take an even closer look at a toxic pattern that often travels hand in hand with manipulation, controlling behavior. This goes beyond mere preferences. It's about domination, control, and the slow erosion of your autonomy. Let's explore it next. In the previous section, we saw how manipulation subtly erodes your ability to think and choose freely. But there's another glaring red flag you can't afford to ignore: controlling behavior, where someone doesn't just influence you but seeks to dominate your thoughts, emotions, and life decisions. These individuals go beyond passive control. They often use threats and intimidation as weapons. They might say they'll leave you, hurt themselves, or even hurt you if you don't comply. This creates an atmosphere of fear and paralysis, making it nearly impossible for you to think clearly or make decisions in your own best interest. Seneca reminds us, true courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to be ruled by it. When someone tries to dominate you through threats, the bravest thing you can do is stand firm and reclaim your power. Let's be clear. Controlling behavior isn't just about someone liking things their way. It's about undermining your ability to choose, to live and to think for yourself. The Stoics would urge us to see this clearly for what it is, an attack on personal freedom, a betrayal of autonomy. So if you find yourself entangled with a controlling person, it's time to establish firm boundaries. Speak your truth. Clarify your needs. Don't hesitate to seek support from trusted people who can help you regain clarity and strength. Remember the Stoic lesson. You can't control what others do, but you can control how you respond. And by staying grounded in your values, you shield yourself from being pulled into their chaos. Freedom isn't just the absence of control, it's the ability to live by your own principles, even in the face of opposition. That's what the Stoics called true strength. But just when you think you've seen the worst, another insidious trait emerges: pathological lying. This isn't just about small occasional lies, it's about an ongoing web of deception designed to manipulate and confuse. Let's uncover that dangerous behavior in the next section. In the previous section, we exposed one of the most damaging behaviors, pathological lying. But the danger doesn't stop at a single lie. When confronted, a pathological liar won't admit and reflect. They double down, building an even more elaborate web of deception to cover their tracks. A genuine person admits mistakes and seeks to make amends. A pathological liar, on the other hand, twists reality, manipulates facts, and entangles you in confusion and doubt. The Stoics would urge us to stay calm and rational. See the behavior for what it is, manipulation, not a reflection of your worth. Don't let their dishonesty disturb your inner peace. Over time, pathological lying eats away at the foundation of any relationship: trust. And once trust is broken, it's like a shattered mirror, hard to piece back together without seeing the cracks. You'll find yourself doubting, second-guessing, constantly unsure. And that emotional toll can be devastating. The Stoics believed that honest, respectful relationships are rooted in truth. So if you find yourself entangled with someone who lies compulsively, you must ask yourself, is it worth trying to rebuild this? Or is it time to walk away to protect your peace? Setting boundaries becomes your shield. Define clearly what you will and will not tolerate. Don't beg for honesty, demand it through action. And if necessary, walk away. Because your mental peace and integrity matter more than clinging to a relationship built on lies. So the next question is, how do you protect yourself from toxic behavior while staying true to who you are? The answer lies in mastering one key skill: setting boundaries. The Stoics saw boundary setting not as a selfish act, but as a practice of self-respect and virtue. Saying no is not an act of rejection, it's an affirmation of what matters to you. For example, if a friend constantly puts you down, you might say, "I value our friendship, but I won't tolerate being spoken to disrespectfully. If this continues, I'll have to take space." The message is direct, clear, and leaves no room for confusion. Clarity protects both sides, and clarity alone is not enough. You must stay consistent. If you state a boundary but don't uphold it, others learn they can cross it without consequence. Epictetus taught, discipline brings freedom. Holding your line teaches others how to treat you and builds your self-respect from the inside out. Setting boundaries is an ongoing process. Life changes, relationships evolve, and your boundaries should grow with you. What you needed 5 years ago may no longer apply, and that's okay. But don't be surprised if you face pushback, especially from those used to having control. They might guilt-trip you, lash out, or try to shake your confidence, but Marcus Aurelius said it best: you are not disturbed by events, but by your interpretation of them. Remain grounded, your boundaries are valid, and yes, sometimes protecting your peace means making hard choices. like distancing yourself from someone you care about, because no amount of love justifies allowing repeated harm. Now, as we move into the final part of this journey, we'll gather everything we've learned, every sign, every strategy, and help you walk forward with strength, clarity, and a heart protected by wisdom. In the last section, we explored how setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and protection. But holding those boundaries, especially in real-life relationships, can be one of the hardest things to do, especially when others repeatedly try to cross them. That's where Stoic wisdom becomes our anchor. Seneca often reminded us that our first responsibility is to our own virtue and peace of mind, and part of that is choosing our relationships wisely. The people we allow into our lives shape who we become. So when you distance yourself from those who consistently violate your boundaries, you're sending a powerful message. I know my worth, and I am committed to a life of integrity and purpose, and you don't have to do it alone. Seek support. Talk to trusted friends, family members, or a therapist. Share your experiences, the successes, the struggles. Sometimes just hearing "you're not overreacting" can restore your strength. Marcus Aurelius believed deeply in the interconnectedness of humanity, that we thrive not in isolation, but in mutual support. By leaning into your support network, you're not only protecting your well-being, but also giving others permission to do the same. Another vital part of boundary work: self-care. And we're not just talking bubble baths. We're talking about carving out space for joy, rest, clarity, and reflection. Epictetus emphasized, we must care for ourselves so we can serve others well and live responsibly. When you take time to nourish your body and mind through a walk, meditation, reading, or simply doing nothing, you're declaring, I matter. My well-being deserves care. Setting boundaries isn't just defense, it's a declaration of self-worth. It says, I know who I am, I know what I value, and I will no longer allow anyone to diminish that. The Stoics taught us that our worth doesn't come from praise, approval, or status. It comes from living with clarity, virtue, and courage. By setting and holding your boundaries, you're living the Stoic path, not in theory, but in action. So remember this, your peace and integrity are always worth defending, no matter who tries to question them. Thank you for spending this time with me here on Stoic Journal. If this video resonated with you, don't leave just yet. Check out one of the recommended videos now on the screen to continue your journey. Stay strong, stay wise, and most importantly, stay true to yourself.